Hello, Tim Elliott here, your facilitator for this session. I just want to share a few ideas around the topic business by design. So, design, as I'll come to introduce, is a big topic, as is business. You all have a business, and therefore you all have the opportunity to design. So, in the introduction for this session, we mentioned that I wanted to talk about how you can design around a few elements of a business. You can design a full business. You can design any challenge, any department, anything that you want to do that I'll get onto towards the end of this. But we want to really introduce this topic through four areas. The SDGs, or Sustainable Development Goals, which is a cross-cutting theme for the Help to Grow course. Critical success factors and strategic goal setting, a really kind of leadership challenge. We want to look at innovation and idea validation and journey mapping and a great little tool called the through line, right, which is really about planning as you go forward. So luckily, today's topic of design is not new to you good people. You've done the Help to Grow management course, so the concept of design is firmly implanted in the way you think and do work. If you remember, we have a few instances of design models that have come up, namely the business model canvas there in 1, 3, and 7, an organizational design as an idea, which is the whole module of 7's main title. Right, so you've come across the ways of thinking and the types of tools that we'll be looking at today. So this should be easier to grasp. So there's a quote on the screen that I'm going to read out. In 5 years' time, your business will arrive at a destination that will either be designed destination, somewhere you choose to go and intentionally and strategically led it there, or an undesigned one. Maybe there was a bit of reliance on good fortune and external factors and things just landing in your lap. So the choice of leadership really is to design your progress through this world of business or leave it to chance. I know which one I'd prefer. But let's start by understanding a little bit, what do we mean when we say designed? There's a definition on screen that you can see. It's really about being intentional and strategic and about where you are now and where you want to end up. Honestly, the idea of design in business is all about effectiveness, all about efficiency, all about optimization of products, services, processes, communication, culture, experience, everything you need in that recipe of what makes your business effective. And the way you become effective in business is by making good, intentional, strategic choices. Design and the design tools and the design process helps you do that. So to conclude this introduction, design is a mindset. It's a belief system, if you will, and it helps you discover and meet the true need at the center of a challenge, and design will deliver a solution to that challenge. It all kicked off really with Stanford Design School from the Stanford University over in the States. You can see the process on the screen. And this is where we're going to start our kind of introduction to design thinking. I wonder if you've heard of design thinking or human-centered design so far, or you have a definition in your mind, or even if you consider yourselves a design strategist or a design thinker. Design thinking is really a set of processes and tools for solving problems creatively. Right? And why this is a good process is despite it being a creative process, despite it being human-centered, it's very thorough. You end up developing solutions to challenges and problems, products, services, that type of thing, that are validated, well thought through, have a business case, and have been proven to work in the prototype and test stage. You can see on screen, I won't read through it. The 5 stages of design thinking. You've got empathize, where we seek to understand the situation. We've got define, where we look at all that information we've just understood and we try and frame it into a challenge or a problem that we want to tackle, that we're strategic and intentionally choosing to fix. Then you get to do the creative bit of ideation, idea creation. And once you've got all those sort of things, you might choose to prototype a few, right? You might choose to go, well, all these good ideas are worth testing out. So let's try and build them. Let's think about it deeper. Let's build a prototype of this product or service and see if its viability in the real world. And then you get into the final stage of this design thinking methodology, which is testing it. Can you test it somewhere? Have you got a friendly group of customers, a research group, a market that you can do the test? Right. So it's a really thorough stage by stage process of designing solutions that will create a sustainable change. It will create a change that's ongoing. You won't have to re-tackle this problem. I did as well want to introduce human-centered design. So that was design thinking, the original process. Now I'm a practitioner of human-centered design. One of my roles is as a design strategist for a global team based over in States called the Spool team. And we are all practitioners and believers of human-centered design, right? So human-centered design is the way of thinking and doing work across the board. So design thinking is really good for products, but can be used for other stuff. But human-centered design is looking at the world and seeing the human need at every challenge, whether it be not a product or service. It might be an experience, a culture, a community. Like we can use human-centered design to design for any human-centered challenge. Now, this is the Spiltane version on screen. You can obviously see the similarities. We've got 3 core categories. We've got the understand phase, where again, we empathize and explore and get all the understanding, and then really try and define what we know from there. And then we get to ideate and prototype. And the final stage is materialize, where we test, but then create the strategy to implement, take it forward to implement, right? We make a plan for operationalization. I don't know if that's a word, but you can have it. We look at implementation of the strategy and the ideas and the products and the services and the experience we've designed through the process. So very similar, slight contextual difference, and slight contextual difference of the methodology, the thinking around the tool. So we've started to now understand what design is in business, right? We've looked at the big structures and the process of design thinking and human-centered design. Like I said in the beginning, in the blurb for this session, we mentioned designing for 4 aspects. There could be many, many more options, from service design to communication design, from innovation to diversity, equity, and inclusion. We've chosen a few just because they come up and they're relevant from the Help to Grow management course, but hopefully these are just introductory tools to get you to want to learn more of how design can look and feel and exist in your organization. So we're going to go through now the SDGs, the goal setting or critical success factors, the innovation and journey mapping. slide by slide, introduce a couple of tools and a couple of ideas that will help you get there. And then at the end, I'll come back with a few resources that you'll be able to find the links to at the end of this video. So the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals, I wonder if any of you have started using these or have these in your organization to look forward to. Fundamentally, achieving the SDGs requires active involvement of all stakeholders. These are designed to align, to catalyze co-creation and collaboration with the overarching idea that it's not one part of society which can help, it's all of us. And these have been created as a directional framework for organizations who want to become responsible and do good for people, planet. You can see the goals on the screen in a second. Here they are. So there's 17 goals on your screen. They look like this. They're nicely designed. In module 4 of the Help to Grow program, for example, we looked at vision, mission, values, and purpose, or the meaning behind your business. I like to think of the SDGs for people who haven't got, who are looking to incorporate sustainability in their business, maybe their early stages. But this gives you a value-driven framework to think about not only doing less harm, but intentionally and strategically doing more good, and how to communicate that internally and externally. Right? Again, that idea of intentionally and strategically meeting a challenge and how to communicate that. Like, this is the design angle. Like, these are directional. So as much as a vision is directional, these are things that you work towards, that you can be subjective about. For example, you might pick goal 4 or goal 7 or goal 17. But the question you need to ask about these are, how does this show up in our world? How can we specifically make an impact towards this? Like, don't worry about other people doing other things. These are directional for you. These are for your team to align and get behind. So if you were to look at these SDGs now, like, which boxes would you tick that you can make a difference towards? Which one would it be? How can you build that into your strategy? How can you always think about the impact on this goal of the work you do normally? There is some further design tools. These are all from the UN website, the SDG website. I will attach some information, PDFs about that sort of thing to this video, wherever that will be. So you can do further reading yourself. But this is a framework for business leadership to prioritize, act, and learn about the SDGs. It's like design thinking we saw before. It's called the Blueprint for Business Leadership in the SDGs, as it says on the screen. It comes in 3 stages that are cyclical, and a little bit you will find as you delve into the world of design for business that things are cyclical. Like, there's never really an end to the process. It's very much about this continual improvement mindset that you'll meet later in the course of Help to Grow. Yeah, in operations it comes up, but that thinking of continual improvement, like, how can we always increase efficiency and effectiveness? These design frameworks are really good. So let's have a quick look at this SDG one. Starts off with prioritize, which is dead simple. Choose which one comes first. It's the effectiveness question again, right? I'm coming back to how you prioritize in a moment, but the thinking behind it for now is choosing which one comes first. You might be able to make impact or have a little bit of a dint, or want to have a desire to work towards one of these SDGs. But really and strategically as a leader, your job is to choose which one comes first. So that's prioritize. I'll pop back to that in a second. The second stage is act. So once you're prioritized, pick your clear next steps, your intentional, impactful actions. So when I say clear next steps, it's a great little framework taught to me by an old commercial sales director of mine from a previous company. And it has some rules. You have to be clear on what the next step is. You have to be able to do it next, like tomorrow, and it has to be a step forward. There's no point in doing it if it doesn't move you forward. So what are your clear next steps once you've prioritized your SDG? And then there's a third stage, which is learn. So what goes well and teach others. It's an old adage in tech to teach one more person what you learn. Right? If everybody through their daily job taught every time they learned something from a customer or through a sales call or a customer service call, taught somebody else that process, documented it, made it a lesson. Like what great organizations of continual improvement and design mindset we would have. But the process of learning what you do and then it repeats, so you can go back around to prioritization, act and learn, prioritization, act and learn. So this is a little framework born from there. I will put a link into the Blueprint UN Global Compact SDGs link for you to delve into that if it's something you want to kind of look at for your business to start thinking and acting towards the goals. That would be amazing. But I did mention I wanted to introduce another idea for prioritization. So this is a 2x2 grid, which you'll be familiar with. There's lots of these via the Unsoft matrix throughout the Help to Grow course. And this is called the impact effort matrix. As you can see, up one side, we've got effort and along the bottom, impact from low to high. What you can do, for example, if you imagine in a real room and not a video, you've got this slide with many post-its on. Right, and each post-it has an idea of how you can be impactful towards your chosen SDG goal, right? And then you place it on the grid, aligned with how much effort and how much impact you make. Right, and what you're really looking for with this tool is to look for the highest impact for the lowest effort and do those first. Next, you want the highest impact for the highest effort. And then you want low impact and low effort. And you really want to avoid doing at all costs anything that's high effort and low impact, because why would you want to do those sort of things? So it's a great little grid. You just draw it out, get post-its, get you and your team to pop each of them on there. And you can see a real good picture of prioritization, and it does that job for you. But let me move on swiftly to another one of the topics that I mentioned in the beginning and in the blurb that involves prioritization. That is critical success factors. So what are critical success factors? You may have thought about these. You may have come across this phrase already. Essentially, critical success factors, or CSF, are the elements of an organization or a project that are vital to its success. They are the core ingredients, the must-haves, right? The things that always show up that you need to do well in your business to be effective, to do stuff well. You've come across simple ideas in the Help to Grow course already. In the business model canvas under the key activities section that you will have examined a little bit in the microfast case study in module 3. And module 7 comes up again with this similar idea of dynamic capabilities and thinking around continual improvement. Right? These may include capabilities in your organization like innovation. They might include market or economical factors. They might include technology or a use of technology. They might be an aspect of your brand or positioning. They might be a differentiated strategy. They might be opportunities to enter new markets. They might be team skills or human resources. What do you think your critical success factors are? What are those things that are critical to the success of your organization? What are the ingredients, the elements that have to show up in order for you to be successful? The idea of you thinking about these is because you can design scalable, repeatable processes to amplify and catalyze and exponentially increase the use of these critical success factors. These are the things that if you choose to put time, energy, and money into, you will get exponentially more impact out of. Right. So if you have 3 or 4 critical success factors that you can increase time and energy, the output will be increased. Right. So you can design around these sort of things. If you have a number, let's say 17, 18, 20, which is easy, you might have this exercise, as you will many design exercises, because the best use of design exercises are collaboratively and co-creatively. So doing these with your teams, get your teams to collaborate. If you ask everybody in your leadership team or management team what they think their 3 critical success factors are, you will need a way to map and understand those visually. And there's another prioritization tool, which is very much like the impact effort matrix. This is the bullseye diagram. It does exactly the same thing. It works like a bullseye. So as this section is all about using design for strategic goal setting and decision making, I wanted to give you a number of tools that will support your thinking around that sort of thing, right? This is used for ranking critical success factors in terms of impact. So answering the leadership question of where do I spend my time, energy, and money right now, and how much? So imagine you've got a few people in your leadership team. They've all come up with 3 critical success factors that they think are important from their perspective of your work. And now the job is to map them, to pop them on where they think the most impactful ones are, right? And you can, once they've done that, you've got a picture of everybody's opinion, and you can start to analyze and discuss and evaluate these sort of things. Like from there, you are able to take those and then map out what it would look like if we spent 50% more budget doing this thing, if we got 6 more people in this really effective team, by using a thing called journey mapping, which we're going to come on to very shortly. First, before we do that, I want to introduce a real classic. It's an old but goldie. Right, this is one of the oldest frameworks for strategic goal setting from which you can move forward into idea generation, innovation, validation, and all that good creative stuff we saw in the models earlier. It's SMART goals. Have a think to yourself if you remember what each letter stands for. Done that? Excellent. Why I've brought this up, right, is because in terms of really simple leadership tools and design tools, the simple ones often are more widely understood and easy to use throughout your company. If you attended the Leicester Help to Grow course, there's a great example in module 3 with Tobias Gold, where he uses the SWOT with the additional action boxes. But this contains all the right ingredients that you'll need for strategic goal setting. There are many versions of strategic goal setting, right? But all you really want is clarity on the important direction, the North Star that drives that performance. You might have spotted by now I've added the words and the definitions, but I may have changed something on there because I think the original version of specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time bound is a bit easy, right? We're better than that now. And I believe if you can't do attainable or achievable, realistic things in your business without this tool, you need more help than this and the Help to Grow course can give you. So let's swap that out as a leadership challenge. Let's make a bit of a difference. Let's be a little bit braver with our leadership and make them ambitious and make them relevant. So you have to be super relevant for now, your market now. And it gives a bit more strategic bravery and intentional decision making is the flavor of the day, right? So be specific, make sure it's measurable, but make it ambitious, make it relevant, and make it timely. Is the right time to do it now? Right? Is this the opportune moment to act where it will be the most relevant and we've got the most chance of achieving our ambition? Anyway, I will leave that because it's a golden oldie and I'm sure you all know how it works. Let's move swiftly on to innovation, and not just idea generation, but the validation piece, which I think is most important for helping you make these effective, strategic, intentional decisions, which will help you reach your ambitious strategic goals. But first, let me tell you a little secret about design. We've seen a few frameworks at the moment. I'll introduce personally a couple of more, and then I'll give you a resource to libraries of thousands. But design is really a mindset, right? It's about the questions you ask the tools. The tools themselves, the canvases, the frameworks, are very much just empty boxes if you think about it. That's why design is a way of thinking and doing work in that order, is why it's a mindset, because these tools perform at their best. The processes are robust and effective, and they perform at their best when you ask them really good questions. For example, think back to the business model canvas. If you have a really good proposition in the center of your business model canvas, the rest of the boxes are really easy to fill in with specific actionable information. This is the same sort of thing. So let me move on very quickly to a little innovation tool that I love. Right, this is called the Idea Daisy. You'll see on the bottom left of the screen, it's courtesy of Mark Shaler in a book called Do Disrupt. If you've not come across the Do books, please check it out. They are amazing little frameworks. But as I said, they're just boxes. As you can see, this set of boxes is just a daisy, right? It's a flower. So let me paint the picture. You've had some ideas in your work of how to change stuff, how to go forward, of things you want to do next, maybe following the Help to Grow course, right? Things you want to innovate and change and make more interesting, right? Then you want an idea of validating everybody's idea. So everybody's brought an idea or set of ideas to the table can be given this framework, and you work on them without collaborating, like without conferring, in the same room in silence, and you answer these questions to validate your ideas, to really make sure the ideas are thought through and actionable and have a business case before you take your creative energy and your analytic energy. Because you remember, as entrepreneurs, you have a budget of time, energy, and money to spend. Each are as valuable as the other. And you answer these questions. What is the big idea? And go round clockwise to what is the opportunity? Why is it amazing? Who cares about this idea? And can you explain it in a sentence? There's 6 great questions, 7 great questions if you include the idea one on there. If you've got an idea that you want to implement at the moment, if you want to try out, or if you want to validate, why not try answering these questions? It's a really good tool in meetings to do it. Even if you don't like the daisy, as I said, the design process is about the questions you use, right? The questions you use will generate the discovery of the right answer. But I love this tool and I quite like having a big flower on the screen or the whiteboard as we do this work. But let me move on. This is the final section before I share some other resources and some other information for you, right? This aligns nicely with strategy and vision and growth planning. This is the art of mapping, right? And you can map anything within your business. It's super powerful. You can use mapping to understand where you are today. You can use it to map things like customer journeys, by pitches for investment, experiences, lifetimes of employees, of customers, anything like that, right? Anything that goes from point one, where you are today, to where you want to be in the future, a defined and specific goal, you can use this tool. So let me show it you. You will be flabbergasted. Yes, I know what you're thinking. That looks like a line. It's because it is. And I promise you, it's the most powerful design tool I know. It's the through line. And it's everywhere. Like I say, from storytelling to customer journey to disruption to change to visioning within a business. You can do so much with this line. I've added a few items to screen, as you can see now. So on the left-hand side, we've got where you are today, right? What's the status quo? What's the thing that you can define where you are today? Is it a challenge? Is it an opportunity? Is it a point in time? How do you define the situation, your status quo? All the way to the other end is where you're going. Where do you want to be? Have a look at the future. Do some future casting. Is it a 5-year goal, a growth, an acquisition, entering a new market? Choose where you are going, right? So that's the simple first rule, right? Understand where you are now and where you want to be. The next set of rules are what needs to happen front stage and what needs to be true backstage to deliver that experience. So let me explain. As I've put in graphics on the screen, there's 3 X's. So from where I am today to get to where I want to be, I've placed 3 X's, 3 things that are significant moments, that are achievable points, right? That are things that need to be true, that definitely need to happen on that journey along that timeline that I need to deliver. There's 2 questions to ask each of those. What happens front stage? What do the customers see? What experience do I need to deliver at this point? And then what do I need to do behind the scenes? What do I need to do backstage to deliver that experience at that time on the journey? So what needs to happen front stage? What needs to happen backstage for each of these significant moments? Because if you understand that this thing needs to happen and you can intentionally and strategically anticipate what that experience looks like for, let's say, your customers, you can strategically, intentionally design what needs to be true, who's got to do it, what resources need to place, and communicate so there's accountability and people know they've got to show up when this opportunity arrives. Right? You've got front and backstage. You've thought about the strategy front end. You've got a plan to deliver it backstage as part of this timeline. The timeline can be short in timeline. This is your timeline. This is your through line. It can be a journey from today to 25 years at the end of your career. It can be today to an exit point in 5 years. You can even imagine, right, and use strategic curiosity to map out potential futures, potential journeys your companies, your teams, your departments, your products and services can go on. Right, you can use it to map out new services of going, okay, if we launched a service to go with our product, a maintenance service, like what would need to happen, what would need to be true, who would do what would that look like front stage? It's a really good visual tool to take anything from critical success factors, from strategic goals, from ideas and opportunities that are birthed through innovation, and map out what it looks like in the real world. Get a real good one-pager look. And that brings us to the end of the few tools that I just wanted to illustrate to get you to see how design as a mindset can be applied by leaders in your business. But there are many, many ways to do design. There are so many resources, and I want to share a few because whatever your business is, whatever your challenges are, right, there will be a design tool and a little process and methodology that will help you move forward with a design thinking mind. So let me do that now. There's a few on the screen, as you can hear. We've got Mind Tools, Mural, the Design Thinking Toolbox, and Strategizer. I'm just going to bring those to screen now. So this is Mural. As you can see, this is my Mural. It's an interactive whiteboard piece of software, and you can see so many different options that are available, right? They've got interactive templates, instructions on how to do it. We've got a team alignment workshop, quarterly road mapping. I'll show you under templates. Here we've got strategy and planning. We've got alignment, coordination, research and analysis. We've got some brainstorming and ideation, idea prioritization. We've got the lean canvas, which is an evolution of the business model canvas to do with lean thinking and continual improvement. Again, we've got the actual business model canvas if you want that's something to implement. We've got the lightning decision jam, which is here, which involves a beautiful drawing of a boat. I like flowers. This is a boat. Also big thumbs up from me and really effective. But Mural has loads of these and they're interactive and draggable. If you're working remote teams, these are fantastic. Let me take you to another outset. So this is Mind Tools. I don't know if people have come across Mind Tools before. Bear with me while I log in. Apologies. Here we go. It's basically a big search engine of leadership tools and things like that. There's business schools here, as you can see, ethics and values, HR, innovation, knowledge management, project management, strategy tools. You've got Porter's value chain, organograms, which is how organizations fit together. Loads of little resources that you can describe and delve into and look at Harvard Business articles, right? There's the tools themselves. There's all sorts of frameworks. There's, let me take you back a second to these to show you some other ones. But it's just a real good resource, right? If you're looking for a new way to think and do or overcome a problem, like Mind Tools is an amazing resource, right? You can use it like a search engine, put words that you want to deal with. If you've got culture problems, for example, or culture challenges, loads of resources around culture, loads of resources around recruitment mistakes, things like that. And there's loads of frameworks and tools in there. So that's Mind Tools. I want to show you this resource as well. So if you remember back on the slide, there was a picture of a book, which is the Design Thinking Toolbox, available from all good bookstores. Try not to buy it from Amazon. Thanks very much. But comes with a website. So I'll send you the link to this website called dttoolbook.com. And it takes you through a lot of these design thinking phases, right? So you can see there's the understand phase, there's the observation piece, which is part of the understand phase. There's definition about how might we questions on there, context mapping. You've got idea generation, brainstorming matrix, dot voting. You've got prototyping, exploration map, for example. I'll just click on this. And each one of these that you're interested in comes with a little free PDF. It looks like this for the free version. You can buy it unbranded off the site. They're not very much money. I think they're a couple of quid maybe. But these are an example, and it teaches you how to use and download each of these tools. There's little descriptions on there of how you do it, but an amazing resource, right? If you want to start to learn how to maybe implement design you want to generate more ideas, or you want to get better at defining challenges or communicating problems, or you want to get better at research and empathy and understanding in your business. Brilliant resource to do it. One I definitely want to show you is Strategizer. So once you create a Strategizer account, which is free, you get a login and you get to go through all of these resources. Obviously, the big daddy of Strategizer, the business model canvas, is something you've come across before. But these have some really good resources. If you love the business model canvas and want to implement it and really want to dive into, you've got things like, look at the customer jobs, the jobs to be done framework, high value jobs. You've got, where are we now? We've got test cards and validations of business card canvas. We've got the value proposition canvas, which will help you create a value proposition, which kicks off, which is the hub, the start, the heart of an effective business model canvas. Loads of really cool voices. We've got the customer profile, which will help you build a really good value proposition. We've got the value map bit, loads of little resources, including the books, right, of how to use and delve into the word, the strategizer, through the business model canvas. The business model canvas, once you unpack it, you don't get masses of time on it in the Help to Grow course, but it's such a agile, malleable, multi-purpose tool. Once you start to use it, once you start to understand the tools that you can use it for, right, is super good. And this is an amazing resource to do that. So we're back now just with the end sort of things, and I've said in the beginning I'm a practitioner of human-centered design, and that's true. And these are just a few examples. You will have access, and I'll send you a PDF version of the method map actually, which helps you just map out and scribble out really the an idea through the process, just so your mind gets used to doing the human-centered design process. So what do we need to understand? How can we best define that? What ideas do we have about it? What would a prototype look about this thing? You can just get used to it yourself, get comfortable with the design thinking process, and scribble on these little method maps. But I'm going to take you through them very, very briefly. So this is an empathy map. It's got a few instructions, as you can say. It looks like a canvas. I'm sorry it's that way around. It's just long. But this is about a deep understanding of a person and a situation. So the key point is being specific about the situation and the person you're speaking to. Right? You really want to delve deep into understanding. For example, exit interviews are good, or if there's grievances, or if you're validating a new proposition for a new customer set. These are super useful, of deep understanding of a human's information. You complete the quadrants. As you can say, there's questions on the run, like what are people saying about it? What actions and behaviors did you notice? What might your user might be thinking? How do they feel about this situation? What do they see with their eyes? What do they hear from outside influences? What pains are happening? What gains do they want from this situation? What does good look like at the end? What does a solution look like? You can really start to understand. And as I said in the beginning, understanding is the foundation of effectiveness. So I love empathy mapping. It's quite a deep and meaningful one, but I did want to introduce it just as a flyby. We've got manage the message, which is good for evaluating like pitches, 60-second pitches, propositions, messages, things that might go wrong, optimizing communication design. So this is dead simple. You write about the core of the message, like what's the topic and what's the purpose, who the person is I'm speaking to, and what's my first message. And you fold it over and ignore all that. And then you think of the reasons, 1 and 2 reasons why the message could be lost or misunderstood or lack some clarity, and then you rewrite it. It's really good exercise for anybody who wants to get better and optimize communication in short time frames. And finally, the method map that I want to show you. So remember at the beginning, the SPIL team human-centered design methodology. This is just about that. I'm going to let you have these, so you get to figure out and play and write on these what you empathize, what you define, what you ideate, what you prototype, what you implement, right? And get stuck in. The best way to start using design in your business is to start practicing the process, become a practitioner before you start to teach it, right? But it helps you shift your thinking culture around some challenges, right? And think differently and do differently the work that you come to do, and then you will see the results, right? The answer and the effectiveness are discovered through doing the work, right? You can stop trying to have to come up with solutions and answers to all the questions, and trust the process of the work. The design work the truth will come out through the design process work, is what I'm trying to say, right? Believe in the process will give you the right answer to the solution. But the best way to do that is to start playing around with it. Now, that's it from me for this. It's a very whistle-stop tour of a massive topic. I'm always happy to speak about these one-to-one. I'm going to send a LinkedIn link along with this video if you haven't seen it before. But thank you for watching. Thank you for attending. These things would be rubbish without you, and hopefully you found this interesting and want to delve deeper. Many thanks.